Okay, I am going to show you how to make a template for the Coffin mini, because I made two sizes. So anyway, start off with, we are going to go up 2 inches. Here. We're going to go up 2 inches, and I draw a line, and 2 inches from the other end, and draw a line. Now we're going to come in 2 5/8 from each edge on the very bottom. So 2 5/8 there, and 2 5/8 there. And then up here, we're going to come in 1 5/8, make a dot, and we're going to come in 1 5/8 and make a dot. And up here on the upper one, the upper line, we're going to come in 3/4 of an inch, make a mark, and 3/4 of an inch from the other side and make a mark. And then we're going to come in 1 5/8. No, 2 5/8. I'm sorry, 2 5/8 up here, and then we're going to come in 2 5/8 up here and make a mark. And then we're going to play connect the dots. So this one is going to come down to this one. This one will come down to this one. And then that one will come down to this one. And then we go the same on the other side. And then come back up to here. Okay, so on this template, I will now write the word outside here. Whoops, S-I-D-E. And that you will make sure when you cut this out, that faces your chipboard. And then on your chipboard, you will also write outside. So let's get a mat and cut, well, I'll just use my paper trimmer because it's kind of easier that way. You can cut this out however you choose. I will do it with my paper cutter. So I will do that one. This does have a tendency to give you a straighter line if you do it with a paper cutter. This is the same template that I use when I do my pattern paper as well. When you go to paper your coffin, you can take and use this as a template for the outside paper on the lid and on the bottom. And then I take and I trim it down a little bit, cut out the inside lid paper, and then trim it down just a little bit more and cut out the bottom inside paper. Just make sure you do your sample fits first. So here is the template. Now I like to cut just one piece out first and then do the second one. I do double thickness my chipboard for my coffins because I want the sturdiness. So as soon as I find a cutting mat here, where'd it go? There it is. It's inside there. Now, last time I did this, it kind of played with my picture. I hope it doesn't this time. We'll see. If I put this on here first before I put it down, maybe it won't do that. Okay, so I'm going to take this that says outside, and I'm going to write outside on here. I'm going to put this on here this way. This is my template. I'm going to trace around it, and then I'm going to cut it out with my utility knife. There. And then when I cut this first one out, I do use a ruler with my utility knife. Make sure I get myself a straight line. Then I glue this one on top of another piece of chipboard, and I just cut down the side of the chipboard. So we will just give this a shot and see what happens. Let's see. You can do this with just a single thickness. I just wanted to make sure that it wouldn't, when you put the book in it, that it was going to not want to buckle up on you. That's the reason I use a double thickness on the bottom. And I just do just the top and the bottom. You end up with a double thickness of chipboard on your sides when you put them, the way you put them on. But the top will just have one layer of, whoops, we'll just, now I got it crooked. Your top will just have, on the sides, will just have one layer of chipboard. Come on, get off of there. Now, let's see. Okay, one more. Okay, so there is our piece of chipboard. I see I have a stray little piece of chipboard. Okay, so there's our chipboard there. So then I am going to take another chipboard and I'm going to glue this to it. Some glue. And then I do like to let this set a little bit. You can do this with score tape as well, if you so choose. So I'm going to put this on here. And I'm going to actually put this under here to let it set with some pressure on it. And I'm going to get another piece of chipboard and create another one. And this will be, one will be the lid and one will be the bottom. And you do want your chipboards to basically match, so it's important that they match in order for when you go to put the cover on the coffin, they match. Again, I want to write outside here. Now, if you cut this out and you take this and you cut it this way with the word outside down, then you're going to write on the back side of your chipboard outside, just so that you've got to mark the same. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut through this one. Thinking I need to change the blade on my knife. So come on. Come on. Better check this and make sure it hasn't moved on me. Nope, still good. Still sitting in place. Okay, so that is that one. Pull this one out of here, and it's all good and straight still. And then I'm going to take this one and glue it on this one. really an old bottle of glue. I'm surprised it even works. Okay. Whoop. Okay. I want to let this one set. Glue off of it. So we'll just put that one under here now. Then I'm just going to take this one, and so that these are exactly the same, I am just going to cut right up against that piece of chipboard. Not getting very good. This isn't. And doing this is one way to make sure that they are both exactly the same. You just cut up against it. If you did two free-handed ones and then stuck them together, I know in my case, they wouldn't be the same. So this is why I choose to do it this way. Okay. So there's that. And okay, now the edges are nice and good. So now I want to do the same thing to this one. Whoops. Okay. So now, by rights, these two pieces, a little piece of stuff caught right there, outside and outside on top of each other should basically be the same. And they look fairly close. Look fairly close. So now the next step is going to be to cut the side pieces. So on my, I just take some scraps of chipboard and I cut them, not to length, I cut them to height. Okay, so out of scraps, what I did is I cut, you're going to want, these are 12 by 12 lengths because they, like I said, they were scraps. So there's, these three are 2 3/4 just by 12. It takes 3 of those. The next one is 2 7/8 by 12. It will take 3 of those. And then the last one for the lid is 1 5/8 by 12. It'll take 3 of those to do our sides. So then you're going to need construction strips. So let me grab those and then we'll be on our way. For those of you that don't know what a construction strip is, I take a 12 by 12 sheet of paper and I score it at 1/2, 1 1/2, 2 1/2, 3 1/2, 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 6 1/2, 7 1/2, 8 1/2, 9 1/2, 10 1/2, 11 1/2. Then I take score tape, 3/8 inch score tape, and I put it on each side of the bump on the back side of the strip. So I put it on that side, and then I come right up above on the other side of that bump, and I run it on that side. And I usually will do full sheets like this at a time because it makes it so much easier to cut them Now, if I've got a bunch of black strips, skinny strips left from a project, I will go ahead and do that as well. I'll just cut them to 1 inch or 2 inch and do my score marks and put tape on them and use them as well. It's a good way to get rid of some of your skinny strips. And can this be done with liquid glue? I would not recommend it. You could probably try it, but I know it will take a lot longer because everything will have to dry. So this is one of those projects where trying to cut corners may not always be the best thing to do. But if anybody does it with liquid glue, I would be curious to know how long it takes them to do it. So anyway, you continue putting your tape on both sides of that bump all the way down. And then you're going to cut them into strips. I will put this other piece on and then I will show you. So cover the whole paper with your tape and then pull your cutter in, and basically you're going to cut after every 2, but it should be 1 inch. So line up 1 inch on your cutter, cut it off. There you have a construction strip. This is what this is going to be made out of, are these. This is what's going to hold it together with a little bit of glue. So like I say, every inch is going to be your cut mark. That's why when you start scoring, you score it in 1/2 inch first, and then work your way every inch after that. But that gives you that first initial cut. So there, you're just going to continue cutting them. I'll usually sit down, and sometimes I've been known to sit down and do a whole package of paper if I'm getting ready to start a big project. So anyway, those are construction strips. Okay, so we have our bottom. Whatever, if this is on the outside here, then the other one's got to be this on the outside on the outside. So let's just put that down so we don't even see that. So these strips are the 2 3/4 inch strips. And I cut them to size the way that they go. So I cut each one according to the measurement. So I take and I go around, and from this point to this point is 7 inches. So I put a 7 there. Then I come down and I catch this little one, and it looks to be about 2 1/4. So I can always trim it off. 2 1/4. This one here is going to be 3 1/8. This one over here is 2 1/4. This one here is 7, and this is 2 3/4. But there's times I do this and my cuts are off a little bit, so necessarily these two won't be the same, and these two down here won't be the same. Neither will these two. That's why I say I just don't automatically cut. I always go back and draw them. So now I know to cut two 7-inch ones. So let's get that. Let's see. Here's a 7 and a 7. And a lot of times I will just kind of lay them like this after I cut them, just so I can make sure that because you can see the points, make sure they go point to point. Then I need 3 1/8. So with the pieces left, I can do 3 1/8, which is going to be this one here, and 3 1/8 on the other end as well. So 3 1/8 is going to be down here as well. Can't see the whole thing. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. So 3 1/8 on each one of those, 7 inches on those. And then I have these little pieces left, but they're too short. So then we're going to cut 2 1/4 and 2 1/4. So 2, and then we got what, 2 3/4. I'm going to do those first. Let's do 2 3/4, and then 2 3/4. So this one will go here, and this one, is that the right way? Let's see. We'll go here. I just kind of set them there. It just gives me an idea that they're going to work. And then I need 2 that are 2 1/4. So we'll go 2 1/4. here. We'll go there. And then another 2.25. And 2.25. So then really all I have left, I have 3 of these left. One fell on the floor. So I have 3 pieces left that are like 1 7/8 wide, which won't fit on here anywhere. So I've done that. So now I need to go back with the same measurements, and I need to cut two of everything. So we need 2 7-inchers. So we'll do that. We need 7 inches. So 2 7-inches, one here and one. Actually, we need 2 for each side. So we need 4 7-inches. Come on. 2 more 7 inches. Okay, so there's 2 more of those. We're actually going to need more before we're done, but I'm just doing one section at a time. So then we need 2, 4. Well, let's do these 2 ends here. So we're going to need 2 for this, 4 that are 3 1/8. And a lot of times the easiest way to do them is to just do them with the ruler and cut out the end. So that's 3 1/8. And this is 3 1/8. And this is 3 1/8. So those 2 go at that end. These are scraps. And this is 3 1/8. And that one will go there. So those are just little scraps, but they'll come in handy down the road. Okay, so then we need 2 3/4, and we need 2 for those. So I am going to cut 2 3/4. And again, a lot of times, like I say, this is, for me, is just as easy as my cutter. So 2 3/4 there. And 2 3/4 there. And then these are 2 1/4. And then 2 1/4 is there. And 2 1/4 is there. Those are scraps. Then we're going to need a total of 8 that are, these are 2 3/4. So we need 8 more that are 2 3/4. So 8 of them. So there's 2. Oh, I did that wrong, didn't I? What did I cut this? Nope, I did that right. I almost did the other one wrong. So 2 3/4. So there's 2, there's 4. And then once you get one of them cut, when you're cutting that many, you can just use it as a template. 6, and then 8. Okay, so there's my 8 2 3/4 ones. Okay, so that's going to take care of this first layer. So now we're going to take, I pick up one of each one of these and put it off to the side. Put them off to the side. So the first step is going to be, I take these long ones, fold them in half. You're going to peel off one side. You're going to put this right up to the bump, right up to the center of it, like that. And then smooth it down real good. Then let me move these off to the side because I'm going to be knocking them out of the way if I don't. And then you're going to peel off this section here. You're going to put your paper down flat and make your side come up straight. Push your chipboard right up against your side, right where it goes, and then push it down. Lay it down. It's going to make this groove. In here, when we go to flip them up for good, we're going to put a little bit of glue down in there. So we'll do that one, and then we'll do the other big side. Get them out of the way. So peel off your tape backing. Put your 7-inch piece of chipboard on there. Peel off the other side. And then put this underneath there where it belongs. Push down on it again so you have your little groove. Now, since I can't remember where these went, this one went over here. So this is your 2.5 or 2 1/4 inch one. We're going to put that piece on there. Peel off this part of it. Stand it straight up and lay it down. You're basically going to do that all the way around. Get everything laid out in front of you this way. And just continue working yourself around. This must be here. Let's see that. I need this one next. Just make sure they're straight up and down. I mean, you're going to be able to see as you go around this that your space is pretty much the same all the way around. Okay, so there's all of those. Get rid of all my papers here. Okay, this is where we take our 2 3/4 inch strips, and each one of these just on one side, not the whole side, but just on one side, you want to put all the way down and all the way up. And again, stand it straight up. And you're going to do that all the way around. Whoop, I forgot to fold that one before I did it. These are going to be the ones that hold our corners together when we stand them up. Oops. Okay, one more. Then we will fold them up after we put our glue down our little channel we got going on down there. Okay, these out of the way. Now we're going to take our glue, and I'm just going to go ahead and use this glue since I have it sitting here. No, I'm not. I don't like the tip on it. It's too big. I'm just going to go back to my other glue. Make sure that it does. Okay, this has a finer tip. So then I'm just going to put glue down inside there. This way, when you fold up your when you fold up your sides, it just has a little bit of extra support down in there. There. Whoop, didn't get back in there. Okay, that's that. Put our lid on the glue, and then we need to wipe this excess off. There we go. So now you can start anywhere you want. Pull that outside. Just put these two up like this. Make sure that let me do this one and then I'll show you. Make sure that they connect right at the top. See how see how they're together right there? You want to make sure that that's level and that they're together. If there's little gaps down inside there, don't worry about it. It's not really going to make any difference. And you're just going to work your way around this and put all of your sides up. Like I say, just make sure they're the right height. And so your paper should be right at the top, right at the very top of them. And they should match. So let's see, what I need to do now is I just need to pull these off so that I can just work my way around it. Okay. So then you just, if you get them all pulled off ahead of time, you can just work your way around it without having to stop at each one. Whoopsie. Okay. Oh, take the one off of there. Okay, so when you're done, you have all of your strips on the outside, and I usually take myself something. This way I use this. Put my fingers inside there and make sure that those are stuck down really good. But don't just, put your fingers in there, push against it so that it doesn't bend in on you. Because when it's one layer, it's not super sturdy. And like I said, see how I have this little gap down inside there? That's going to get covered up, so it's not a huge deal. But you don't want to be too out of square. Too out of square will cause you problems. So then you're going to take now your second set of black pieces that we had, and you're going to go around the tops. We have to cover this top row right here. So we're going to take and just peel these off one at a time, and they should actually run from joint to joint. So wherever you're at, they should actually run the whole distance, joint to joint. And then before I stick them down, I always take something, whether it be a bone folder, even an ink pen works. Run it across the top so it squares it off. So we're going to go all the way around that one, and let's go ahead and put this one on. Let's see. This one, as long as they go from your joining spot to your joining spot on your chipboard, you are good. Pull that off. So see, you could take a bone folder and run it across there, get it flat, and then stick it down this way. An ink pen does the same thing. Whatever you choose. This one goes here. So we're going to. Now this one is just a tad bit too long, and that's okay. But I always check it before I go actually sticking it down. Let's see, we need one of the longer ones. Yes. Nope. This one kind of is out of whack as well. Now, I used to always build with black chipboard, but I haven't gotten any lately. So a smart thing to do on this corner, I don't know if you can see that, but you can see the beige chipboard there? Take a marker of some kind and kind of color that in. And usually what I'll do is, before I actually put things together, and I should have done this, is I usually go around at the corners and do them black. You can take a Sharpie, does it as well. That way, if there's a little tiny piece of the chipboard showing, it doesn't stand out quite so bad. It kind of blends in with it. And that's the reason I always have built with black chipboard in the past. But I didn't have any, and I enjoyed making this. So I thought I would share how to do it with you guys. And this one. And I mean, you put these on just like anything else. You just put it to that fold. That fold is there to guide you. Let's go here. This one's next. Okay. Now we have one more piece. Whoop, down there. Okay. Then I usually take and I go around it just to make sure all those are all adhered really good. Okay, so now we put in another piece of chipboard. We put in the piece that's 2 7/8. And let me cut my 2 7-inch pieces. One, two. So these pieces will go in and they will stick up above. This is where when your lid goes down, it will come, this will guide it on and it will come down and sit right on top of this flush. So I get everything cut first and make sure they're going to fit. So we got, there's 2 7, we need 2, 3 and an 8. Let's see, 3 and an 8. And sometimes you have to adjust these as well. So what I usually do with this kind of stuff is I take these binder clips and I make sure if you have ink or glue on the inside, your chipboard's going to stick to it and you really don't want it to yet. We're going to glue it in eventually. So I take the binder clips to hold them up just to make sure I end up with everything tight. And this goes here. Sorry for my camera shaking. My clips are, let me get these clips off of here. They are up on the thing that holds my camera. Okay, there. So I clip these in this way and you can see they actually go from corner to corner. You don't want them any bigger than that. Okay, so that's those. Then I need 2 that are 2 3/4. So let's do 2 3/4. 1 and 2. Now sometimes, see, these are 2 3/4. See how this doesn't really want to fit? See the gap in there? See the gap? So I'm going to put my ruler up there and measure in between there and there. And they actually come out at a little over 2.5. So I'm going to trim these down to, I have to make sure I trim the right side off. I've been known not to. So I need to trim them down to, really they should go down to, let's shoot between 2.5 and 2 5/8, and that might not be enough. No, let's just go down to 2 5 or 2.5. And that will probably, yep, fit us just perfect. So those need to be 2.5 inches wide. Okay, so those fit inside there. And check them, because one may not. I have done this where one of my spots might be 2.5 and the other one might even be 2 5/8. I got lucky on that because I didn't double check it. And this one is going to be 2 1/8. And this one is going to be, we're going to do 2 2 1/8. Let's see. Okay, so we have 2 1/8, a little snug, but I think it'll be just fine. And then we have 2 1/8 there, a little loose. Well, let's try something just because. Let's put the tight one over here. Well, it's loose over here too. So let's see. Yeah, it's loose over there as well. I kind of like it better over here. I kind of like them to be a little snug. So that one's there. So what is this? Did I get... Well, I'm going to go between 2 and 5/8 and what's this? 2 1/4. That's not big enough. So it looks like I have to cut another piece. So this needs to be, how tall is this? This one was the 2 7/8. So let's just cut a scrap of 2 7/8 tall by, what did I say? Now you can't remember. Whoops, let's go in here. So we're gonna do a heavy, a light 2 1/4. Let's just do a light 2 1/4. 2 1/4. Let's see. Can't see. Oh, there. No, well, nope. Still, I didn't do light enough. So 2 1/4. But it's not 2 1/8. So we have to shave it until it fits. Oh, that's perfect. Perfect fitting. Okay, so there's there's all our insides. And you'll see there's a gap down in here. See, there's a gap right there. A little bit of a gap there. There's a little bit of a gap down here. And that's really okay. We're going to glue these in, and then we're going to put our black strips over them. But before we do that, again, we need our strips. So we need 2 of them. The 7 inches was a good measurement. So we need 2 that are, whoops, that's not right. That's not right. I almost blew it. The wrong way. Let's use the ruler the right way so I don't screw it up. 7 inches is right there. Okay, so we're going to need, actually we're going to need 4. So let's do 4 that are 7 inches. Okay. So there's 4 of those. And we're going to want 4 that are 3 1/8 because those were good measurements. So off of these scraps, we will do 3, what did I say? 3 1/8. So we'll do 3 1/8 off of there. There's 2. And there is 2 3 1/8. Let's get a couple more pieces over here. Okay, and then this one was, oh, what was this one? This one was the, we're going to do 2 1/4. They can always be trimmed down if they need to be. 2 1/4. And we need 4 of those. 2 1/4, 2 1/4. Okay, so there's our 2 1/4. We did this one, we got those, we've done those. We did this. We need 2 3/4. No, those weren't right. That wasn't right. Let's do a measurement on this piece of chipboard. This chipboard measures 2 5/8, and they'll have to be trimmed down, but that's okay. So let's do 2 5/8 and 2 5/8. And then the next thing, we're going to have to repeat our measurements of, okay, so these are all remnants over here. Those will get used on the lid though. That's not a problem. So this piece of chipboard was 2 7/8. So now we're going to need 8 pieces that are 2 7/8. So that's probably 2 more of these. So these go on the inside. So we need 8 of them. And I'm actually going to, let's see, I'm actually going to go, I'm not going to go 2 7/8. We're going to go 2 3/4. 1/8 of an inch shy. So 2 3/4 we're going to do. We need 8 of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I know those are too small, so they're going in the garbage. Okay, so now we're going to get ready to put this together. But before we can actually glue these in, I'm going to put these 2 3/4 off to the side. We need to cover the tops of these just like we did this. So unclip them so that you can pull them out. And then I pull them out. And what I usually do, I try to kind of keep tabs on them. Not that it helps, but I'll do this. So I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to cover the top of this. The only difference is those were stuck in the box when we covered them and these are not. These are loose. So, oops, that's the other thing I need to do. Go ahead and cover the corners. I know this one's going to show, I can tell by the way it's fitting. Cover the corners, smooch it down, close the ink pen before I get it all over me, and then fold these down real good, tight. Make sure they're down across the top like this. Then make sure nothing is sticking over the edge. This one has a little bit of cardstock sticking over the edge. Then you can take them and you can actually glue them in as you go. So we're going to put glue on here. I think this glue top is clogging up on me. Then I'm going to put it right down in there where it belongs. And I'm going to go ahead and clip on here, that side, and I'm going to go ahead and do the long one on the other side as well. And let's just, because had I planned far enough in ahead, I would have had black chipboard, but this was a spur of the moment thing that I talked about, and I thought how fun it would be, and I did it without waiting to get stuff. Okay, so then we're going to smooth the top down. Then we're going to put, and you're safe if you just put your glue in the on the chipboard, not up into the black area. It's better. You know you're going to have plenty of room. It's not going to squish out the top. Okay, let's put this here. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do the ends, the 3 1/8 inch ends as well. Try to do the big, that one, and I believe that here's the other one. Whoop. Okay. And I apologize ahead of time. I haven't done a video in so long. I apologize if I get out of camera or if I can't get things showing you the right direction that it needs to go. So let's see here. Okay, so those are all the big ones I put in, and it's good if you put them back in the order that you cut them, because then your measurements, otherwise things might move just a little bit and it may not work very well. Okay, so now this is not that one. Okay, now what's going on here? That one. Well, let's see. I'm going to set that there because I'm going to make sure that, see, I'm going to even need to recut these. It looks like I didn't get my pieces back where they needed to be. So in the meantime, okay, this one just needs to be trimmed off. Yeah, just needs to be trimmed off a little bit. So I am going to trim off about 1/8 of an inch. So let's go down to 2 inches on this one. Perfect. Okay, put one of these on there. I'm all thumbs right now. And then you can just take and run your scissors right up the edge of the chipboard. Come on. And cut that off to be straight. And then this should go right down inside there, and it will. So let's put glue on it. I didn't mean to do that. I slid it down there and got glue up here on the black part, and I didn't want that. Okay. So that's going to go in there, and I'm going to have to do that over with a, okay, now where's my other little one that I had? Yep, I'll have to cut about 1/8 of an inch off that one too. So, is that better? Much better. Okay. So let's go ahead and I'm going to do both sides just in case. Trim off the strip. Okay. Glue it. Don't slide it in this time. I don't want the glue all over the mess. Okay. That went in good that way. Okay, so we've used all our clips, but that's okay. Now we can pull off the other ones. Okay, so this one, oh, this one's gonna, actually that one goes down in there good. So I'm not even gonna do anything with it. So we're going to put our tape on. Be cautious here. Okay. Yeah. There. You know, I think before I put that in, I'm going to try to cover that up and cover this up. Okay. Okay. There. And then what did I do with the other one? Let's see, was it this one? You know, no, that's too small. Too small. So what is this? This one is, this is 2.5. I'm going to make it be 2 5/8. So this one that I had? Yeah, I want it to be 2 5/8 by 2 7/8. I have to cut another piece. 2 7/8 by 2 5/8. Okay, now let's see, is that going to fit in there? No, of course not. Okay, that will. I shaved it off just a tad. So again, I want to take care. These are going to show, I'm sure. Okay. Oh, I better do. See, now I got too many pieces of chipboard. I don't know which one. Okay, these are all scraps. Get them out of my way. Okay. Okay. All right. So there's that. And then we have to put in this one. I'm just going to. Okay. Don't need to trim it at all, which makes me think I got one that belongs somewhere else. Okay. Then we're going to put this down here. Stick it down in and then bring it up against there. I don't want to slide it. Okay. So let's take this clip off. It's been on there long enough. So there we have the inside. You can see there are gaps in there. But again, those are all going to be covered up. Okay. So it's going to sit there for a minute while I pick up this mess. And then we're going to put the inside strips on. And then I'm going to stop this video. And we'll come back with another video to make the lid. The lid is made in the exact same way, except you only have one layer of chipboard on the outside, not two. So these go 2, 4, 6, okay, 8. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and take off these long ones. I'm going to turn this on its edge, and we actually want to start with our 8 pieces that are the same size. And before I put these in, I want to take and cut them to an angle, one end to a point. Not a big, it doesn't have to be a deep point, just a point. We're going to cut them all 8 so we can, when we start putting them in, we can just put them in. And you don't even have to go right to the fold, just before the fold. It can be a tiny bit of a square on the end. That's fine too. Okay. Get all my little, before I knock them all on the floor. Okay, so these go folded outwards like this. And we're going to put these in those joints where they seem to, like I was telling you not to worry about it. These are going to cover up those joints right there. So if you pull off both pieces, see if I can do this in the camera. I'm going to tip it up, and I'm just going to slide that in that way. See, like that. It goes to the joint, and then it covers both sides of the joint, so you don't even, and then I'm going to, there. See, it goes down. And the point will come just barely inside of the top. And you're going to go all the way around that way with your strips. Fold them outside. And it's hard for me to do this and have you see it because then I can't see it. So there's the joint. This goes down inside there, just like that on the joint. And then smooth it out on both sides. Then take your bone folder, whatever, lay it down on the table. And burnish it down really good so that the tape sticks well. And then you're just going to continue working your way all the way around till you get all of those put in. Okay, so all those are in. You can see they're all covered there. I've smashed them down really good so that they're nice and tight down in there. Now we're going to line the bottom all the way around in the bottom with the strips that we have left. So I'm going to take my 7-inch strip. And again, I'm going to I just peel off both sides. And if it's folded, you can stick it right down in there. And then you can smash it down one way and then the next. And just get your bone folder or whatever to make sure it's creased in there really good. And just work all the way around with your strips. Make sure they're not sticking out on another piece. Make sure they go from corner to corner. So I try to put them in the same way that I put the chipboard in. So I did the 2 longest pieces. Now I'm doing the 2 very ends right in here. Then I'm going to do this end down here. Now see, I'm putting that in there and it's hitting the other side. So just going to take a smidgen off of there. You want it to go up against there smoothly. Okay. Then I'm missing, oh, here it is over here. Okay, so be a good idea before you actually go putting some of these in. This one's going to be the same way. I need to, because remember, I did trim down my chipboard. So if you did any trimming on things, these are going to have to be trimmed down to match them. So this goes in there. I'll burnish it down really good after I get them in. This one fits in there okay with no gap. If you put it up against the edge, up against the bottom, and you can move it from side to side, then it's too small. Okay, let's try this one. Too big. When it sticks out over the top of the other side, then it's too big. Perfect. So it wouldn't hurt to measure, double check your pieces before you peel off the tape so you can trim them. One more piece. Oh, this isn't going to be it. No, this is too short. That's what I did. I screwed up one piece and I used it. Maybe this one will be long enough. I'd like it to be just a tad bit longer. This one will be. I can cut this one down to size. Okay, so this, yeah, let's cut off about that much. Okay, so this one will go in there perfectly. And then the bottom is complete. Now I will tell you that when it comes to time to cut your paper, that's where your template comes in at. But you have to do it in the right order. You have a choice. You can make 2 templates, one for the inside and one of the bottom and one for the inside of the lid. Or you can cut your paper. You can get the template to the size. You want to use the template as is for the outsides of the bottom and the lid. Then when it comes to the inside, that's where you're going to want to trim it. So what I did when I did mine is I trimmed mine to fit the inside lid first, the inside of the lid, and necessarily almost fit. I didn't have to do much trimming. But then when it came time to do this one, I had to cut off almost 1/8 of an inch all the way around on it. So, but there is the inside of our coffin. So if these pieces stick down a little bit, you can always take your scissors, if they stick out a little bit like that one did, and trim them off. And you'll know when you get done making it if they're going to stick out, because like this one here's got a little piece that sticks out. Just take and trim that piece off with your scissors. And after you get done moving this around, they're going to show. They're going to stick out and show. So there's the bottom of the coffin. Pretty cool. Can't wait to do the lid. I'll be back with another video for that.